Hey guys, Hadrian here, Invincible Jiu Jitsu, and today we're asking the question, how can you get better at Jiu Jitsu fast? Well, like most things in life, the answer to this question has a few components to it. So let's start with someone who is just beginning their Jiu Jitsu journey. Let's say you're a white belt, day one in Jiu Jitsu. How do you get better? My advice is to find a school or find a group of like-minded people who are training within a curriculum, training within a foundational system that will enable you to cycle through that system repeatedly. So you can enter at any point in the curriculum or the system, move on to the next move, and go all the way around the curriculum and back to the beginning. Then you go around again. And each time you do a lap of the curriculum hopefully which covers foundational moves, foundational techniques and principles. Each time you do a lap of that curriculum, your knowledge, your understanding of the foundational principles gets broader and deeper. Like anything in life, you can't move forward, you can't build a solid base of knowledge unless there is a solid foundation beneath it. If all you're doing every time you train is collecting just a bunch of random moves, one week you're learning passing the guard, the next week you're learning heel hooks, and then the week after that you're learning rear naked choke, it becomes very difficult to understand how to connect these things together. Jiu-Jitsu is what makes Jiu-Jitsu strong, and what sets it apart from most other arts is that it is a system. It does have a system of sequential movements to enable you to go from a standing position to the ground to the finish. So again, if you're just collecting loads of moves, it becomes loads of different moves with no rhyme or reason to the way in which you're learning those moves. Your ability to implement those moves is negligible at best. If your club or your training doesn't operate this way, doesn't operate with an established curriculum of foundational techniques, then find people who are like-minded and that you can train within this system. You can train with these people within this system. The next thing that I believe is critical to a rapid escalation in your skills on the mat is positional sparring. Now again, every time you roll, it's a free-for-all. Anything goes. Then you may only end up in a particular position for a few seconds before the scramble moves you on to something else, whether you want it or not. And it becomes, again, very difficult to understand the minutiae, the working parts of any one position. Everything just blurs into a big, shapeless mass, and your knowledge becomes broad but not very deep. You don't get really good at understanding any one fundamental position or any one advanced position. Because in a regular jiu-jitsu match or jiu-jitsu round, if there are no constraints other than the time limit, you're cycling through things so quickly. So again, you never get a chance to understand any one thing particularly deeply. With positional sparring, you're layering parameters on the training, parameters that force you to understand and get deep knowledge and get really good at, get really sharp and precise at one or two positions. So let's say you're working on the mount. One person will work on maintaining the mount for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever the length of the round is. The person underneath is working on escaping the mount. And that's all you can do. As soon as the person underneath escapes, you reset and you start again. Same person on top, and you keep going. Every time there's an escape or a submission, let's say the person on top is also allowed to finish from the mount. So if there's an escape or a submission, you reset, you go again. Same person underneath, same person on top. And in focusing on this one position and forcing yourself to remain in the mount position, you get really good at understanding how to maintain the mount, how to escape the mount if you're underneath, how to finish on top, how to defend submission attempts if you're underneath. Your understanding of this position gets very broad, very deep. So this is why I believe that positional sparring is crucial in getting better at jiu-jitsu quickly. for myself, when I implemented this concept into my own training around sort of purple belt, I really focused on positional sparring. I feel like my ability on the mat just went through the roof. Now, it's not always easy to find people who want to just focus on one thing and do it over and over again. If you can find those people, they're like gold dust. Hold on to them. Unless your coach or your club already has this kind of practice set up. If you are someone who struggles to find people who want to engage in positional sparring consistently, then during the open mat or during the free sparring portion of your class, ask your partner who you're rolling with if they will start from a particular position, to at least give you the chance, the opportunity to work your way out from underneath the position, or to learn how to control a position better if you're on top, or work from a position where you're working on learning a finish. This will give you some of the beneficial aspects of positional sparring, if not keeping it as focused as you might like. And often people don't even need to know that you are doing positional sparring. Again, as a purple belt, it was very difficult for me to find people who were partners who wanted to train consistently at one position. So during an open mat, I would just ask someone to start in cross-side position or start from mount on top of me. And it would give me the opportunity to work out from under these positions. I got very good at defending submissions, at escapes. And then with more experienced people, I would ask if I could start on top. If I could start on top of them, or if I could start from a more compromised position from them, to give me an opportunity to learn to focus on my control, to focus on my submissions. The next thing for me is flow rolling. Flow rolling is a phenomenal way to build the mechanics, build the movement patterns of the technique, of the position, into you in a way that your body understands it even more than your brain. So you're understanding things on an unconscious level, as opposed to having to think about them all the time, because you're drilling these moves in a very fluid, organic way over and over again. You're kind of like positional sparring, but more free-flowing, of course. You're cycling through all the sort of techniques in your repertoire, depending on what position your partner presents or what opportunity your partner presents. But there's no pressure of a submission. There's no pressure of I need to win or I have to defend. The idea is you keep everything very light and fluid as you're moving, and you're trying to keep it moving so that you're both cycling through patterns and absorbing those movements. You're getting repetition in a very gentle, very playful way. Again, the best way to learn for anything in life, in this reality, is play. We learn best when we're playing. So flow rolling is a beautiful way to just play and experiment with movement and positions in real time. Now, it's very difficult, especially amongst lower belts, to keep to the flow aspect of flow rolling. Often it degenerates into just a full-on spar. Maybe one person doesn't quite get the concept, or doesn't have the skill level or the experience to keep it flowing, and their instinct takes over and they tense up, and it becomes just like a regular sparring roll. And it only takes one person for this to happen. So with flow rolling, just as with positional sparring, we impose parameters on the roll to keep it on track. So the parameters might be no submissions, and you can only hold any position for 3 seconds. And you go tit for tat, back and forth, alternating. Your go, my go, your go, my go. Or you can do 3 rounds apiece, or 3 moves apiece, or 2 moves apiece, or 5 moves apiece. So each person gets 2 or 3 or 5 moves in a row, and then they allow their partner to take over. And you are working, the idea is that you're working together, like in a dance. This is not a spar, this is a dance, and you're working together to choreograph a beautiful flowing pattern for the duration of the round. The important aspect to understand here is that you are working together. You are giving your partner your body. You're giving them your limbs so that they can move through the positions that they need to easily without it becoming a fight. This is why we sometimes remove the submissions, especially when it's lower belts and learning the flow rolling game. We remove the risk of submissions. We take that away from them so that it enables them to relax into it. If you want to play with submissions, you can go with the catch and release concept for flow rolling. So you catch a submission, but you don't put it on. At no point do you try and make your partner tap. You just catch it, let it go, like when you catch a fish, when you're fishing, catch a fish. You enjoy the fact that you caught this beautiful fish, and then you throw it back in the water so you can live to fight another day. This is the same principle with flow rolling, and you do the same with your partners. You catch the submission, you release, allow your partner to move into a new position, and maybe allow them to catch something on you. So that's flow rolling. Now, for people who are a little bit more advanced, a little bit further along the path in their jiu-jitsu journey, here's a couple of conceptual things that you can do to improve quickly. First is to work on your defense. If you become defensively minded during your training, you get very good at defending. So putting yourself in bad positions and working your way out of them, putting yourself in submissions and defending them and working your way out of them. You get very good very quickly at defense. Now, the idea is that when you are so good at defense, when your fortress is impregnable, it allows you to stay in the fight much longer. And when you can stay in the fight longer, when your opponent is unable to submit you or finish you or control you easily, the odds of them, of course, the odds of them finishing you are going down, and the odds of you finishing them are going up. Now, there's a few things working here. Psychologically, your opponent is getting demoralized because they can't finish you. So as they're getting weaker mentally, you're getting stronger. And also physically, as they're getting weaker physically, you're getting stronger because it takes energy to keep going for submissions. If you can stay relaxed, defend, your opponent is getting tired as he's trying to finish you, and now he's getting weaker and you're getting stronger. This is one of the fundamental concepts of jiu-jitsu. Make the opponent weaker while you are simultaneously getting stronger. This is what jiu-jitsu is all about. When your defense is impregnable, you're allowing yourself to be able to remain in the fight longer, and your opportunities for submitting your demoralized opponent become greater. So working on your defense. This is something that Rickson Gracie, Roger Gracie understood really well. They always focused on having unbeatable defenses. Rickson, I don't know that anyone ever defeated Rickson in any sort of competition scenario. I believe he remains undefeated. Almost the same is true of Roger Gracie. I think his last defeat came at blue belt, and since then he's had an undefeated run from this day until his retirement, I guess. Not only did they have impregnable defenses, these guys, but they had super impressive finish rates. Rickson was known to finish everybody. He'd finish entire roomfuls of black belts. He'd line them up and finish them one after the other. Roger, at competition, was also an incredible finishing machine, slow and methodical, grinding his opponents down and eventually getting the finish. So make your defense impregnable so that your ability to finish correspondingly gets higher and higher. The next thing we can look at is limiting yourself during training. So let's say you are the big dog in the room. You're a black belt or you're a brown belt, and everybody else is purple, blue, white belts around you. And the traditional thought is that you need to be in a room full of killers to become a killer. You need to be constantly tested by people who are better than you so that you can get better. This is true and this is untrue. Certainly in terms of becoming a finishing machine, it's actually better to work with people who are less skilled than you. Why? Because this affords you the opportunity to work on your submissions over and over and over and over again. to refine your ability to submit people. Because people who are less skilled than you, their defenses aren't going to be, their defense level is not at the same level as your attack, your ability to attack. Your ability to attack is here, and they're down here in terms of defense, potentially. So it's easy for you to finish, let's say, a blue belt or a white belt if you're a black belt, at will. So you get much better at your finishing percentage goes up, and this will then carry over to when you are working against people who are of the same level as you or higher. Now, when it comes to defense, how are you going to, if your defense is great, if you're a black belt and you know how to defend, how are you going to get better at defense when everyone around you is a white belt? Well, this is something that Rickson Gracie talks about as well. You have to bring yourself down to the skill level of the person with the least skill in the class. How can you do this? Maybe you remove one arm from your rolling, your positional sparring or your free sparring, whatever it is. You tuck one hand into your belt. As you get more comfortable rolling with one hand, you tuck two hands into your belt. So now you're working with just your legs. You find ways to limit yourself physically so that the people who are around you become more of a threat. Maybe you roll blindfolded. This is something that jiu-jitsu players also do. Sounds a little bit esoteric, a little bit Shaolin monk-esque, but it has its place. In something as tactile as jiu-jitsu, working without your eyes can be an incredibly effective means of getting better, improving your skill level. So limit yourself physically. Try to bring your skill level down to even below the level of the people around you so that you are forced to work harder and get better when it comes to defense. Something that I tell everybody, all of my students when they start jiu-jitsu, is focus on your breathing. Focus on slowing down your breathing. When you first get on the mat, grappling is new, it's an unfamiliar environment for most people, and most people aren't used to having another human being trying to squash them and choke them at the same time. So they panic, they hyperventilate, they lose control of their body, or their brain, and then their body. Because they're hyperventilating, they're not getting enough oxygen to the brain, their ability to make rational, technical choices drops substantially, and their ability to learn is also compromised. So if you can slow down your breathing, you'll be able to stay relaxed, you'll be able to see opportunities much earlier. You'll be able to feel and see opportunities as they pop up around you, as opposed to if you're panicked, you're rushing, you're missing all the opportunities to escape, to evade, to submit. Also, again, if you're calm, if you're relaxed, this is the best state to learn. If your head is full of panic and your heart is racing and you're rushing around trying to get out of a position or trying to finish somebody, that's not an optimal state to learn. When you're calm, when you're relaxed, you learn best. So try to slow down the breathing. Concentrate on slowing down the breathing, and everything else will fall into place much more easily. So let's recap the techniques quickly. The first was start with a system. Learn within a framework. Learn within a comprehensive curriculum or foundational system to keep you on track, to enable you to cycle through all the basic fundamental positions over and over again and get good at those. Then we had positional sparring. Limit your sparring so that you are forced to get good at one or two positions or one submission or whatever it is at a time, so that you're really forced to go deep and your understanding of the position of the submission becomes laser sharp. Then we have flow rolling. Again, limit what you can do in the roll, keep it slow, keep it playful, keep it deliberate, and work together to keep the dance flowing. Then we have a defensive mindset during your training. Work on becoming defensively unbeatable, and you will find that your ability to finish your opponents raises in accordance with how hard you are to beat. Limiting yourself. Limit your ability, limit yourself physically, so that the people around you, if they are of a lesser skill level than you, can become more of a threat and will thereby force you to get better quickly. Breathing. Focus on slowing down the breathing in any position at all times. You will learn better, you will see more opportunities as they arise around you. All right, guys, that is it. Those are my top strategies and techniques for getting better at jiu-jitsu fast. If you found this information helpful, useful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow, it helps us spread the good word. And until next time, train well, and I'll see you in the next video.